All right, this is part two of the health report from August 2025 to May 2026. So, yeah, I was leaving off with the neck pain. I don't know where it came from exactly. Um, it's hard to say where pain comes from most of the time. It could be a number of things. Healing the body, who knows? Posture, things like that. So yeah, I'm just kind of seeing if that goes away by itself. Could actually segue into the next thing I'm going to mention here. So the other negative I noticed over the past months is I feel like I wake up almost every hour having to toss and turn my sleeping position, and then I fall back asleep and kind of repeat that process. And I'm not sure if it's my side sleeping position, like literally how you sleep on one of your hip bones on either side. I'm not sure if it's that position causing the body to be uncomfortable and like go numb in a way, so the body like it's kind of waking me up because it wants to move, or I'm not sure if it's something to do with like hormone disruption. Could be some sort of episode where I'm detoxing a bunch of stuff in my sleep, and kind of just could be something deep rooted that shakes the body, kind of disrupts it a little bit, and so I wake up. Could be something like that. It could be stored or unused adrenaline from sitting at like my desk job most of the day or something, or majority of the day. Just pent up energy. Um, or it could be possibly sleeping near EMF devices, in the house, like Wi-Fi routers, computers, things like that. I would have to eliminate those to see if it helps, but I can't do that currently in my living situation. But I'm working on that, to hopefully find a isolation from that stuff to really cross that off the potential factor list, for causing number of issues potentially. Um, I also try to fix my sleep posture first. I think maybe I'll go back to floor sleeping, since I've been sleeping on a normal bed mattress for like the last few months, and I don't know why, just have been. Um, so maybe I'll just go back to floor sleeping or something. See if that fixes the um, general sleeping issues and things like that, and any pains I have in the body. Um, so the positives. Now we got the negatives out of the way for the most part. Let's do some positives. So my general mood has been better over the last months with more added minerals in my diet, through salt and something I'll get into later is clay, like clays from the earth, those kind of mineral supplements. Uh, More consumption of higher mineral foods like dairies and cheeses and things. I kind of put some of those in the diet as well, in a more increased fashion. Um, I also feel super high in like body mobility throughout my entire body. Whenever I'm able to move my body, I feel like I can move more freely and explosively without any joint pain or restriction, like a well-oiled machine. So that's awesome. I think before I was doing all of this kind of lifestyle changes and diet changes as well. I did have some pains. It was like an issue, being kind of free to move. I just didn't feel as good. Felt a little rusty and things, but now I just feel really smooth. And over the last few years, it's probably led up to that. Restoring really good lubricated joints and everything like that. I feel really good. Um, yeah. So onto the clay topical and drink experiments. I don't really know how to say that, but yeah, we'll just get into it. So, in this topic, um, I've been looking into the works and findings from people reporting tons of remedies and benefits from pure clays from the earth. Some are said to do different things depending on the type of clay. Like, for example, there's red French clay versus bentonite. They do different things, supposedly have different properties, healing properties, or whatnot. I started reading about this. I stumbled on a guy named Neil Bosshart. He claims to have healed several patients of his from their ailments with like clay, using clay externally and internally, applied or consumed. Um, it's super fascinating stuff so far because it sounds like the clay has the ability to absorb positively charged substances like foreign chemicals, toxins, and heavy metals because the clay is negatively charged by default. Um, so it's like this opposites attract kind of thing going on with the clay. It's I guess also it relates to like grounding. I feel like in a way, like because grounding, the supposedly the science behind it is that we are positively charged or overly positively charged with properties in our body, and the ground has some sort of negative charge to it, which negates the two into this balanced state. So that's pretty um, similar sounding, which is interesting. Um, so yeah, back on topic, off that tangent. Let's see. So yeah, to wrap that first introduction, I mean, there's not much study into the scientific nature of clay and how it works, at least from a major research perspective, from what I've found. There's more so just anecdotal experience with people trying it. So it seems that calls for self experimentation. So decided to do some stuff myself. So why not? Um, First, I tried topical use. So topical use, I mixed 1 part clay to 3 parts water. Mix it in a jar according to that guy Neil was talking about. He has like a whole instructional book, the recipe for making these topical clays. So once you use that, or you mix that 1 part clay to 3 parts water, you get a gel-like texture kind of clay. And I found it to be pretty useful so far, especially for poison ivy rashes. Oh yeah, it has been the only thing that has absorbed the rash oils from my skin and stopped my itching sensations completely after applying. So I would apply a thin layer, just enough to cover the rash, and it would give a relieving, like cooling sensation. And then it eventually dries up and absorbs the irritating oils. I would reapply every couple hours or so, as needed for a couple days, and the rashes were gone in my case. Um, Apple cider vinegar was not as effective. I tried. Um, and then also I tried urine, my own urine, which was not as effective as the topical clay. So it seems like the clay was the only thing working. After even trying the apple cider vinegar and the urine and stuff that like is supposed to neutralize the poison. There's probably other stuff to try I haven't tried, so really open ears to any other topical remedies that are natural like that. So moving on. Ugh. I also did a clay detox foot bath nightly. I added 2 tablespoons of clay to a bucket of hot water for like 30 minutes. Um, like soaked my feet in there for 30 minutes. And made sure the water is covering up to the ankles. Full like foot coverage. I did this for about like a week every night. I didn't notice any positive effects really. Some say it gets rid of body odors, sweats them out the body, like intensively, binds to odors. But I noticed the same body odors, you know, even after a week of doing it. It's the same odors from before the tests. It's also said to fix other toxic states in the body, like a headache, for example. But that varies from person to person, I guess. Okay. So, the internal drinking of clay experiment. So, I started with 1 teaspoon of bentonite clay. And I forgot to mention for the topical clay, I was also using bentonite clay. Make sure I got the distinction there. So for internal, I started with the 1 tablespoon of bentonite clay per 8 ounces of water. So about a cup of water. Let it settle in the glass with a lid on for a few hours, and then shake it, and then let it settle again overnight. And I drink only the water on top without drinking the rest of the clay sediment at the bottom. I did once daily in the morning before any foods, and then I waited 30 minutes before consuming anything after drinking that. And the reason I only drank the water is the science supposedly behind the clay interacting with the water is that the clay supposedly it gives a some sort of ion charge to the water. It's probably like giving it its negative charge to the water, and essentially those minerals are like, I don't know, I guess dissolved or transferred into that water itself. Like maybe it's structuring it in a way. That's what it sounds like. And so that sediment it's it doesn't need to be drank like as a whole, because you're giving the minerals, I guess, to the water as well. So the water is charged with the same minerals that were in the clay. I guess the clay, you can drink that as well if like you're having maybe some loose stools and things like that, and need to fix some diarrhea. So you have to like really get all the clay into your body as much as possible to bind and harden any loose things in the body and get them out of the body. But that's just my assumption of what is going on there when people like this guy Neil is prescribing. You can just drink the water at first that has extracted properties from the clay instead of drinking the entire thing with the clay. So that's like another fascinating topic to go down. But in the actual experiment, I didn't notice any major benefits from drinking the clay water. It tasted slightly sweet, so it was a good taste. Nothing bad about it instinctively. So I would drink it, and then some days I did notice there was a stinging sensation on my like uvula area, the back of the throat. That was not really pleasant. I'm not sure if it's the clay particles like irritating the uvula or what. But anyways, the clay didn't help with any of my acid reflux, which it's said to help with. The only result that was noticeable was a negative side effect of hardened stools, assuming the clay was binding to water in the body, or maybe or was binding water from the body maybe, and then could be binding to other toxins, other things in the body. Could be solid foods, who knows, and adding bulk to the bowels material. So maybe I need to be more hydrated overall in the body in order to handle clay going through the bowels again, even the water itself. had some sort of binding property. I felt like it was noticeable that my stools were harder after drinking that clay water, not even the sediment itself. And I had the same diet, before and during this experiment. So it definitely will um, thicken the stools. I do know that. Um, like I was saying earlier, this could be good for someone that has loose stools, diarrhea. It'd be a good idea to drink clay to harden those stools and to bind to any toxins causing the diarrhea, I think. So there's a positive there, I guess I found.